Hi everyone, my name is Allan Gyorke and I'm here to talk about pandemic planning at Penn State. I work for the Teaching and Learning with Technology group, which means my main focus is on what faculty, students, and staff are going to do to adapt the teaching and learning process so it's continuous if there is an outbreak. So what we're really talking about here is the swine flu or the H1N1 virus, which in the spring started to pop up around the country. Over the summer there were some concerns that when students return in the fall there'd be a larger outbreak and that could disrupt a university like ours. So we had some questions. One was, what should we expect? What will faculty need? How prepared are we? And then more importantly, how prepared can we be by September, which is kind of towards the beginning of classes and before things were supposed to hit. So one question at a time here. What can we expect? Probably not something like this. This is the nightmare scenario where everyone is sick at once. It's a worldwide population. There's people being quarantined here and there. I didn't think that we would run into that because as we paid attention to the CDC, it should be more something like this. Most students who will get affected will get sick. It will feel very much like the seasonal flu, which is also going on at the same time. They will be able to recover from it without any serious consequences, and eventually there will be a vaccine available for both the seasonal flu and the H1N1 virus. But our expectation was really for a rolling outage of sorts. So what happens during this rolling outage? Everyone will be affected in some way, but not at the same time. So we're talking about students, faculty, staff, and then people who need to take care of their sick relatives. People who are sick will be sick for 7 to 10 days, maybe on the outside, and some may get very sick and may need to be hospitalized. The scenarios led to a couple of cases here that we worked through, and one of them was a large number of students are out of class at the same time, but others can attend. So you can imagine the faculty member teaching in front of a class that's half full. Maybe they're recording their lectures so students can catch up as they're able to, as they feel better. Another situation, the faculty member is sick or taking care of sick relatives and may wants to continue teaching or directing a research team because some research can't stop depending on a time-based nature. Technology support staff who are supporting things that help faculty teach online like Adobe Connect or Angel might be sick, and then how do we basically backfill their positions? And the last scenario is because of the spread of the virus, to control it, students and faculty are asked not to attend class, to stay home, but everybody's still feeling okay, and how does that teaching and learning process continue? So what we decided to think about what faculty would need in these situations, and we thought they would need to share their materials and present ideas, present their lecture, direct a group discussion, that sort of thing. They may need to record their class for later viewing by a student who can't attend. They may need to create mechanisms for communication and discussion, both small group activity and if groups are working on projects together, that sort of thing. They'll need a way to assess and evaluate student progress, and they'll need both asynchronous and synchronous options. So the asynchronous would be things like Angel, where you post something, you go back a few hours later, somebody else has replied. The synchronous discussion would be more like a simultaneous connection like you can do through Adobe Connect. So how prepared can we be by September? Well, we decided to use centrally supported tools that, because they have existing faculty guides, the help desk here will support all of those tools. We have articles in the knowledge base that people can look up commonly asked questions. We have second tier support in groups like ours who can go off and research a question or a particular problem that people are having. And then typically with centrally supported tools, we have a strong vendor relationship, so we can go back to the people who write the software and ask them questions if we're having issues. The supported tools that we already have in place are things like Angel, blogs at Penn State. We're doing web conferencing through Adobe Connect, but other people are using Illuminate Live. And then we also have some options for pre-recording lectures. You could use, on the Windows side, PowerPoint and use the Adobe Presenter plugin. On the Mac, which I'm doing right now, you can do a keynote presentation and then record audio as you go through the slides. You can use this tool called Jing, which lets you record 5-minute segments, but it's free, and then you can post those online. And most of these you can post through iTunes U, and that's especially important if you have audio clips or video clips or images in your materials that need to be restricted just to the class to comply with the Teach Act. So we already have these tools in place. We have these tools, but not in one place. So we created this Teaching During a Pandemic page on the TLT website. That's the address at the top. And this includes most of these tools and then links to where you can go for training, how you get started, videos, and it includes things that are not just the classes and not just the how-to guides, but also pedagogical issues, such as fostering a discussion in Angel. The faculty feedback that we've gotten from this page, we did get one request to add a video to explain how to annotate slides, which I've added. But the feedback that we've gotten is that it is a comprehensive list of resources. We've got several people saying, thank you and for putting this together. And then the faculty who've responded to this and given feedback said that they felt confident that they could use these materials if they needed to teach online. So these resources may not be needed this year, but this is certainly not the last pandemic that we'll see. And these materials can also be used to teach a remote group of students who might be at another university, collaborate with a team of researchers who might be embedded doing field research or in industry, communicate with students who are on an internship like a student teaching or they're on a study abroad experience, that sort of thing. And then if you happen to need to go off to a conference or do your own field research, you can still continue teaching a class that's here at University Park or at another campus without having that guilt of abandoning them to go off and pursue your professional needs. So if you have any questions, you can contact me. My name's Allan Gyorke, that's Allan, A-L-L-A-N, @psu.edu. Thanks.